This is episode 266, Old Guys and Their Sweats.
I'm having a schwitz in here, you might say. But it's the tone control. And this time we're talking about the new instruments that are in Logic Pro, which I'm excited to try, and 3D printing and falconry and Cybertruck and what else? It's a lot. Did you ever listen to a podcast and think, this is a lot?
This one needs a table of contents that we will not provide.
Well, we'll put in the chapter markers.
Will we? Because I didn't mark any. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's gonna, the way we meandered. I don't know if this one's gonna have this.
We didn't even have like
intro.
One sound.
Yeah, we're gonna have intro, and then we're gonna have, and then we talk for a long time, and then we have thing of the week at the end. I think those are our markers.
Intro and what's new, and then car crash noises.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a snake.
Somebody shaking a tin can of pennies.
Is this still intro? Okay.
Palm Teddy in the chat. This is a suitably meandering intro. Perfect.
Yes, actually,
that's exactly
that
what
works.
we were going for.
Fantastic. Bing.
It's the tone control.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yep.
This part is.
I'm sure I've put the music in by now.
It's like this part's the weird part every time. Do I stop now?
Yeah. We just run for a long time, and then at some point in there, I will have done it. I'll try to find the funniest spot. But I'm sure it's out by now. Oh, for sure. Keep this in. Do-do-do. Ba-da-da.
Here we are.
Here it is.
I need some more of my headphones. Hang on.
Hold on.
There we go.
Everybody shut up.
Got it.
Okay, we're good.
Got it. We're good.
Got it.
We're in there.
It's another tone control. It's another day to control the tone. It's been a time.
Yeah.
I'm having one of these, like, what did we even do last time on this show things because of everything that happened in that last episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. So first of all, sorry for having to leave and not come back in the middle of that. So, our siblings were on and it was really great. And then out of nowhere, Jack decided to have a really hard time that night. And he's been like pretty good. And it was if he's up, it's not then, so it was very abnormal. So I was just like, what's happening?
He was like, not today, Dad.
Not today. And then just moments ago, before coming and sitting in this chair and, doing the show, he's just like having a bad time going to bed lately, but then he's like good once he's asleep. So he knows, it's like magic. He knows when I've got to be somewhere or do something.
Yeah.
It's tough.
They can feel it.
They can
feel it. Yeah. Good content last time. And then also tornadoes.
Friggin' NATO's.
Out of fucking nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere. I mean, they were predicted since the day before.
Sure.
But they happened. None of them were too close to me. One of them was sort of close to my folks' house, actually.
Really?
The one that we were getting sirened about, my wife burst in here and was like, got to cut you off there. And about 3 minutes later, the siren went off. So she was like thumb on the pulse watching the weather. And so we went downstairs and we watched, we put on some live streams of a couple of local news channels, and they're, the meteorologist is down there and the other person's over at the desk, and they're going back, probably both meteorologists. I shouldn't say it like that, but they're cutting back and forth, and he's over by the map, and she's like doing this and calculating the times and then drawing this, and they look at their they can see like the clouds coming or going, like the Doppler is in color. So they see that, and he's like, I don't like the look of that. Zoom in over there. And then like 10 seconds later, National Weather Service is like, bing, there's a tornado on the ground right there. He's like, I knew it. It was sort of fun watching. So we had to keep, we got Aria up. We had to keep her up for like almost 40 minutes before we got the all clear, I guess. And it's like, they're never going to get to me. We live in the hills.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, might, but they're never gonna, but they might.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, to end the podcast abruptly every now and then in the interest of, keeping you and your family safe is totally fine. I should say, I know I would not do well in a place where tornadoes are like a distinct possibility. I think that would, I think it's the alert that would like start this whole like anxiety trip for me. And I would just be like, New England has its stuff. Obviously, everybody cites the snow and of course like humidity and things. And it does get super friggin' hot here most summers, but it's going to be like 90 for 3 days straight this week in May. But it's the kind of stuff we have is not a big deal if you stay put most of the time.
Yeah.
Like we get nor'easters, we get some hurricane, like kind of bad storms, but they're not hurricanes by the time they're here. And so, snow, you go out in it, that's on you. You fucked up.
You did this to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, doing something dumb outside when it's like way too friggin' hot, like that's, again, that's on you, right? It's not like a tornado will just arrive at you. Or a hurricane, same way. Like it'll just show up where you are, and I don't like that part.
Yeah.
Do you find? So do you find like weather people, not like meteorologists on TV, but people who are into really
like
fascinated?
She's got like three different apps. She's always bouncing between them and comparing the AccuWeather versus the this versus the that. And I mean, she doesn't like study it or anything, but she's always talking.
But she's
about
not a storm chaser either. She's
not
like.
No,
yeah, you know what I'm
like
talking
that.
about, though. These folks that are like waiting for the big one. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like
I don't think I've ever known anybody
I know
like that.
So my undergrad university had a meteorology program. It has a meteorology program, and I was friends with some people who were in it, and I just catch them on social media sometimes, and they're like pretty quiet for forever because there's just not social media people, and then some weather thing happens that's of note, and they're like, "Listen, guys, listen to me now.
Everybody stand up. It's time to move."
It's and I'm like, oh, Ryan's posting something. Like it's real when he posts something, and so I don't know, but it's got this tone that's like, this could be something we haven't seen in blah 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 in so long, and this type of event never occurs, and da da da. But you can tell they're kind of like secretly hoping it happens, despite it being this like disaster. But anyway,
is that like me for like astronomy stuff? It's like, is that like when the eclipse came around and I was like, no, listen,
I don't know. I mean,
I still don't go on social
so.
media though, because I've just totally cut that. It's been it's been at least 4 or 5 years since the Facebook app was even on my phone. So I don't feel that pull.
I'm closing in on like 4-ish years. Yeah.
And then there was the moment that Elon Musk bought Twitter and the tone control closed down its Twitter.
Yeah.
I've not looked back at that.
No, I don't regret that at all. I closed down my personal Twitter as well. And I don't regret it at all. I haven't
opened it. Yeah. Yeah.
Which probably means yours is gone, by the way. There was a whole thing with that.
Oh, really? Good. That's fine.
Yep. So, anyway, I don't know what's going on. I'm just in this weird state of like, the air quality here has been very bad. For a little while. I don't know why exactly. Tree pollen counts are in the kind of record numbers, and it's fucking me up bad in a way that I like haven't, despite taking allergy medication for well over a month at this point. It's not doing great. Like I sound weird, and like I just have this dry cough all the time and things. So now I'm like, am I sick? Or is it trees? Or is it like pollution? Like what is it? And it's probably all of the above. So I'm in this weird, like, boy, really could use a break kind of mode right now.
Yeah. This can be a break. We can do that.
Kind of.
know?
Yeah. I mean, I
Kind
was
of.
like, I was feeling like shit earlier. And I was
Yeah.
like, boy, I don't want to not podcast tonight. But I don't know. But then I ate some food and felt better.
Should we just call
So
it
anyway,
off right now? Just publish this?
Yeah, you know what? Let's just pin this.
Just
We'll table
fuck
it
it.
for next time. Yeah. At work, we would call that, put that in the parking lot. That's a corporate America thing
Is that
people say now.
Are you going to notice it when you come back in the next day? What does that mean? I'm trying to
I've been handed
dissect it.
documents that say parking lot on them. Like this is the parking. These got the meeting notes, right? Meeting minutes. That's fine. We've got the attendance sheet because it's friggin' elementary school, I guess.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, the parking lot comes up sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Should we know your meme that or?
Somebody should make like a corporate version of Know Your Meme. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who started the phrase "open the kimono" and why
Right.
can't I slap them in the mouth?
Yeah. Let's take it right back. Let's get some historical journalism.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that'd be a valuable addition to society. More valuable than the phrase "open the kimono."
Anyway,
Anyway,
this is me re-apologizing for being a friggin' weirdo tonight. I can feel it already. But what's going on with you?
it's hot as fuck here. I guess that's what we're going to be passing your way. But
Thanks
these
a
are
lot.
the only days when I have to work on the yard. So yesterday we did our front little planter thing for spring, which is late. It's way too hot. We bought like a pop-up tent thing, like one of those like
The Kinesia
square-
tent?
yeah, like a square like metal
Yeah.
frame thing so that we could shade ourselves. We figured we'll probably use it. Additionally, besides this, just so that there was a little bit to cut it. And then today, I was out, had to cut the grass. Marielle showed me something not too long ago, like a message out into space to future aliens. Like, hello, we are from Earth. We are the most intelligent species on this planet. Every week or so, we give the grass a little haircut. So that's what I was doing. That's what I think about now. I was giving my grass a little haircut.
Yeah, I cut my lawn for the first time just late last week. And first time this year, for late last week. And I was pretty late on it. Yeah. Like my neighbors on either side had done theirs once or twice. And so it's like lawn, forest. Like it's just this big, it's like a step, like a stair you have to like walk onto.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was gnarly.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll have to try to do the back tomorrow. It's going to be more of the same. It's fine. I need to get out. I need to get some cardio going on. I had a physical. Now we're going back like a month, but I had a physical.
Because last time we didn't do any of this.
Last time we didn't do any of this shit. So like I'm 41, right? And I have a physical because actually we're gonna need to change our insurance, and we're just sort of like we're doing a bunch of like extra doctor shit because Marielle's not a grad student anymore, so we're gonna not have anyway. So I have a physical, and I've actually when I turned 40, I had like a little moment. Like my dad survived this liver cancer surgery that was horrific, and like he was in great shape, and like he kicked the ass of this thing. And
because of being in great shape.
It was
not
like
because of, but a huge part of it, probably.
He could do this severe surgery, and they do like a stress test on you, and they had to crank the incline on that treadmill up and really push this like 70-year-old guy, and so I was like, that's happening, and I was like coming up. I was going to be 40 that year, and I thought, okay, so I've not been in terrible shape for my life, but I was like, okay, I'm going to like do the thing, right? So I spent like 9 months or so, whatever. I sort of made this internal choice, and then by the time I turned 40, I was doing much better. I had, not that I was terrible before, like I said, but like I lost like 17 pounds and was weightlifting a bunch more and being a lot more into it. And then I've continued that. So here I am, I'm going into my physical. I'm like, I'm great. I'm like just about the best shape I've ever been in. I've put on more weight. I put on like muscle weight now, and I'm like, because I'm like tracking myself, and I'm like doing the things, which I don't really talk about because I feel like it sounds really like kind of thirsty to talk about. But anyway,
I know what you get.
So I'm like,
yeah,
but
I
I'm
know what you
telling
mean.
enough of the story that this makes sense. So I'm going in, talking to the doctor. Everything seems great. He's checking me all out. Let's run that, let's run the blood work. I just want to get everything on you, kind of thing. But everything seems great. So my cholesterol is bad.
They're telling you have the heart of a 90-year-old or something, right?
No,
like a 90-year-old sea captain.
No, like my heart, like my blood pressure is magnificently low. My heart rate, my resting heart rate is in the like low 60s. I'm like awesome.
Okay, cool.
My
Yeah,
cholesterol is just genetically not good. So I'm standing there like I've been working my ass off for like 2 years now, and I feel great. I've been killing it. And they're like, your cholesterol is bad. You got to do something, or I'm going to put you on medicine. And I was like,
fuck you.
oh my God. So that really hurts. I'm like, I feel like I've been beating my head against and getting nowhere, which is not true. So I sort of got over it. But like, basically the answer is like, yeah, you're doing great. You actually do still need to like run though, because there's, I have high on both types. So the trick is if you have the high density cholesterol, tends to sweep away the other stuff, but you can make that work by you got to be like running, you got to be like pulmonary stress, not just other exercise stress. So I've had to enter that in. So then today, it's like hot as hell. I'm doing my runs all the time now. I'm getting it all in. I'm cutting the lawn. I was like, by the time I got done cutting the lawn today and it's like 90 degrees out, I was like, I am 41. I actually kind of need to sit down right now. So that's the day I've been having.
I know that.
Anyway,
Feeling.
we're gonna get checked back in. He gave me 3 months. He's like, let's check your blood again in 3 months. Do this. See what you can do. Because I can tell, like I know you're exercising, you're doing the thing. See what you can do. And if it's not great, then we'll talk about medications.
Do it, you wimp.
Something like that. So anyway, I'm going to put I'm going to put that same energy into it, and we'll see how it is in a couple of months and stuff like that. But anyway.
Cool. Only mentioning this because you just mentioned it. I also have lost like 17 pounds.
Fucking A.
So
tell me this. So I have a question for you about that. So here's what I noticed. I really didn't like the heat. And in the summertime, Marielle and when friends are over, they'd often be like, let's hang out in the backyard. And it's like hot as fuck. And I'm like, we have air conditioning in here. And I remember I talked to you. You hate that. So I hate being sweaty,
and I'm an easy sweat. All right. Like it doesn't take much.
I have found the last summer, it bothered me a lot less.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, having you say that to me, I'm just very interested. Like, pay attention to that this summer. Like, just think about it. Look back,
I noticed that. I think last summer I didn't feel it as badly, and I was curious if it was an age thing. Because like as you get older, you tend to run colder. Like my father-in-law is always cold, but he's 73 or something like that. And but he wasn't always like that. So. You hear old people are always cold, right? It's just a thing. And I'm like, when does that start though? Like it's not just one day you're freezing all the time, but it must at some point begin to like
start to
slow
happen.
down. Yeah. And I was wondering if it was that, but then I was like, no, I'm just incredibly sedentary. That's all it is.
That's my hypothesis right now, because it's not that I like love the heat and I just want to hang out outside all the time, but I mentioned it, like I noticed it and I was like, you know what, this really doesn't bother me like it used to. Not nearly as bad as it used to. So
that's a better motivator to lose weight than my friggin' cholesterol, I'll tell you what.
You can be comfortable while enjoying your backyard. It's just
because like your cholesterol is not something you can feel.
Yeah.
You don't get it lowered and you're like, oh man, I feel great. Like you feel great because of all the other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
This is this episode of old guys talking about their experience.
So I was talking about their sweats.
Old guys in their sweats. Oh my God. Are we gonna is it time to incontentize this episode of podcasting?
I think so. It's time to make the hard pivot into
trying to Cut left. What's this one? Blunderbuss. Oh, that's a successfully
Ba-boom.
short one. I like that.
So I added this to the
Your
notes.
sweats. Oh, God.
Oh, I'll write that down.
So,
Old guys.
yeah. And this seems like the thing right now. I agree. This is the thing that everybody's been talking about.
Yeah, I'm only talking about it because when I opened Logic to come record the show, it was like, hey, check out what's new. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So I have not been really paying attention because I have a toddler. And, that's my reasoning for everything nowadays. But it's very true. I haven't had a chance to look into this. But the thing that
a good
grabbed
reason.
my attention, the thing that grabbed my attention right now when opening Logic to record today was that they've added bass and keys to the auto musician aspect. So now it's not just drummer, it's bass and keys as well. And drummer is awesome and very good. So I'm really curious to see how these other two are. Basically, I just wanted to kind of throw this in here. I know there's a ton of other features that people have been talking about, but I haven't read up on yet. So yeah, I mean,
So here we
it
are.
sounds like you've been hearing some stuff about this in your circles.
Yeah, well, they talked. Well, something came up in Discord the other day too about like a I don't know what they're calling it.
Hang on. Yeah, I saw that.
It's like a music rebalance, but
Stem splitter? Is that what you're
that sounds right. That sounds right. Are these just the instruments? Yeah,
Yep.
these are the instruments. Your own personal assistant, blah blah blah. Stem splitter. There we go. So yeah, like being able to using machine learning to interpret a stereo mix, and or I guess it doesn't have to be stereo. Although I know for a fact that it's definitely helpful if there is two channels. But to tease out the instruments, kind of separate them onto different tracks, and then be able to treat them differently. Now I've used things like this. I'm told that this is very, very good. The thing I was using is a few years old, and it does okay. It's always been the kind of thing where, again, this is only a couple of years old, like being able to do this kind of at all. But I've used it with great success, not to extract or fully delete something from a mix, but that phrase music rebound, that's I'm not thinking Isotope. That's Isotope's word for it, right?
Okay.
Their product is called Music Rebalance. Now, to use it like it sounds, to just say, oh, let's turn the drums up a little bit or whatever, it was quite effective at that. And then you're summing everything back down again at the end. I did some mastering work for some people who they basically had a 2-track mix of something. I can't remember even if it was a live show, it might have been. And in mastering, it was sort of the bass is too loud. And there's nothing I can do about it without sucking, I can't just EQ it, right? Because then I'll lose the bottom out of other instruments. So with this, it's a totally different process. I could take that bass.
Okay.
Because
I
I'm
see.
separating it, now I have, even though they don't sound great by themselves, if I just solo the bass, and this is talking about the other project, the Logic one is probably a little better. If I solo the bass, I can hear artifacts in it. I can hear little bits of stuff creeping in. Likewise, if I solo the vocal, you can hear little bits of the guitar sneaking in there. But you can do some processing to them, and as long as they're being mixed back in at the end, all those artifacts kind of recombine anyway. It was pretty damn effective.
So I don't know if you've used this at all. I don't know why you would, but the in Apple Music, or in the Music app, I should say, is this Sing feature where it removes the vocal from the mix right on your phone. It just does it. And I'm curious how different or how adjacent that tech is to this kind of thing.
I bet it's really, really similar.
Yeah.
Because that's such
I
a
forgot
better
I had it.
better tool for it now,
I forgot I had it. I forgot it was a thing for a little while. It's awesome for learning guitar parts because you can take the main thing that's in the center of the song away, and you can hear the overall mix changes because of that overlap thing. But you can still hear the vocal, but it's almost like it's almost like just a reverb, a reverb trail kind of, but it's not cavernous sounding. It's just really far away. Because
probably the machine is interpreting well, that's a vocal effect, but it gets the dimmer and longer the tail,
Yeah.
the harder it is to totally remove, kind of thing. So it's like you err on the
Right.
side of just partially eliminating it.
Yeah. So I was like, and it got added, or maybe I just never really noticed you could do it. I can do it through CarPlay now.
Oh, okay.
Not like on the dash, but my phone supports it while driving, which was interesting. And it does it correctly and all that. So it's cool. It's a great thing. Like if you're doing it to sing along to the radio, like, okay, nice. Sometimes it's just cool to hear things a little differently. And like I said before,
Yeah.
I use it for learning songs like crazy. It's really good for that.
Back when I was in college, the thing that they would teach us to do basically was this A minus B, or that's what they would call it back then. But it's basically just the out of phase trick. Combining left and right and flipping the polarity on one of them, which effectively turns your music mono, but it eliminates anything that's exactly pan center. And so that's the quick and dirty way of getting rid of whatever's in the center. Now, as a guitar player, you can still hear some of the drums. It usually gets rid of most of the vocal, although on modern mixes, you'll find there's a lot of songs where what you might not have realized, the vocals might be side by side, panned all the way out. I know there's a lot of pop songs where like the chorus is actually going to be fucking full blast when you do that, you know,
for that wall of sound thing.
But this, anyway, like I said, this is an old trick anyway, but works great. It shows you a lot of cool things about the mix too. So like it would be a great tool for learning guitar. It was a great tool for sort of thinking, well, I really love this song. Like what's going on in here? And you can hear things in a different way, more exposed way.
Yeah, I was doing it the other day with the newest Angels and Airwaves record. And like to talk about a sound that's just really rich and full of all kinds of beeps and boops and extra percussion. And there's so much extra content in that stuff. That's not just the band part, like the instruments and the singing, but
so much little nonsense and stuff.
So much little stuff. Yeah. Dotted Eighth delays and flangers, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. So I don't have much else to say about this Logic update because again, I haven't like actually used it, but this is cool. I like when there's updates, especially when I own the thing and they just update it.
Smart tempo. Look at that. Everything. I don't know.
Oh my God, the tempo conversation again.
I just accidentally hit the back button. Yeah. Well, but I don't know. Smart tempo. So that's probably good. Look. I can infer that it's learning the beat somehow. Although it doesn't look like it's drawing those lines on the drum beats.
Is that drum? That says guitar right up there.
It doesn't look like a guitar to me.
Oh, the track is named guitar, but
well, okay, I don't know. It doesn't. I guess it could be a very rhythmically played staccato kind of guitar. It doesn't look like a guitar part to me. It doesn't look like a guitar track to me. I'm gonna call bullshit on Logic's marketing image, but I could be wrong.
My guitar parts look like sausages.
Well, it's definitely not a distorted guitar part. But I don't know. It could be something very muted, very.
Maybe. Whatever. Anyway.
Okay. Fuck
That's
this.
just an image, but yeah.
Either way, it's not lining up with the beat markers that Logic is drawing here. So, how smart is your tempo now, you piece of shit? Yeah.
Friggin' dumb tempo is more like it.
Dumbass. So, what is this? This is a saturation.
Chroma glow.
So there's a saturation.
Add the texture
plug-in.
of tubes, tape, and whatever, and coveted analog hardware.
Yeah. Okay. So it's got a saturator. It's got pitch correction.
Neat.
So auto tune, I guess. Which didn't it have already?
I have no idea.
This is maybe an auto
Never
version
used it.
that didn't exist before. I know they had flex pitch, so you could sort of do manual corrections. Mastering Assistant, which is in the previous update, everybody was talking about.
Cool.
People like all this stuff. Spatial. Oh yeah, it has spatial panners now instead of just stereo. Because Apple's all in on this spatial sound stuff because their headphones all do this. They can simulate that.
I think I might need a new set of AirPods, but I don't know. Part of me is like, no, it's fine. It's not that big a deal. But now they do this because of the active noise canceling that happens. I get weird feedback clicks sometimes.
Oh, okay.
When things like when I'm walking, so like the slight impact of walking, it'll almost chirp. And it's because it's like a very brief, very high pitched feedback. And then just, the noise cancellation doesn't seem as good as it was when I first got them. But I don't know if that's true or if I'm just really used to it. But I've had them it's the first gen AirPod Pro. So it's been a while, and I use them like every day. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a thing that can wear out like that or if it's just me.
Yeah, I would be a little bit surprised, but
yeah, like,
I don't know.
But then again, like maybe I haven't done the fit test either in a long time. So maybe the tips on them are slightly deformed and there isn't a perfect seal anymore. So it could be that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
The spatial thing is cool, except when I'm listening to something on my phone, I don't want it to sound like it's coming from my phone, like the direction of my phone, because it's usually in my pocket or like on the corner of my desk. And
you need the in-between mode, right? Where it's using kind of the spatiality of the way it was mixed, the multi-channel that it was mixed to, but not like when I turn my head, it stays over there kind of thing. I don't want that.
Yeah. And for what they say, like, watching a movie on iPad or something it's cool.
Yeah.
It is cool. It's very awesome to experience. But again, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with like just having all that sound like right in your dome. Like that's what I want, But
I really do think that the thing of the sound sounding like it's coming from a big space and not just from two speakers, like that's a very defensible feature. All the other stuff is a little bit like, and if I was going to be the sort of person that bought Apple's spatial computer, their VR headset, right? And then you've got to have that or whatever pods or whatever, right? Or it's because you're going to be watching your movies in it and all this other stuff. And I think that's a leap farther than it needs to go. At least for now.
I agree. What's frustrating, I haven't actually checked this, so I hope it's been fixed or added, I should say. tvOS, you could always connect your AirPods to your Apple TV to just send the audio there and watch in silence in the room. That did not support spatial audio when it first dropped. And even with a later tvOS update, it didn't support it either. I'm like, no, this is the time that I do want it to sound like it's coming from my TV. This is the one shot. I don't need I'm listening to music on my phone. I'm not watching movies and stuff on my phone. So it's that different experience. But like I said, I hope they've added it. I haven't checked. But
do you have because there's a bunch of versions of Apple TV. I wonder if it needed to be like the latest.
I have the current one.
The current, the 4K Gen 2 or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was really surprised because when spatial audio dropped for like these other devices, I'm like, you didn't do it to the TV one? That seems like the obvious
Seems
choice.
like the one. Yeah, well, isn't that just like Apple though? Like, and I get it. Like I have the stuff. I have their computers. I use them for work. I really wouldn't consider not using them, in that context. It's not really a dig, but like there's a lot of stuff Apple does that it's just like, well, that's not for me or something.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
Why'd you do it that way?
or like, I would really think this was worth a lot of money if it just had, and it's like the thing they left out, that seems like a really strange thing. I think the same thing, like I'm a VR enthusiast. That's not a toy for me. The thing they made is not, and not even close. It's like that thing is less than worthless to me. And one of the main things that their selling point is like, ours doesn't have any clumsy controllers. I'm like, well, you know what something needs in order to be fun for me? Controller. Yeah. Because you know what doesn't work? Hand tracking doesn't work when you're trying to play games with like guns and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
I can do puzzle games with my fingers.
Yeah. Sure. That's one of those things I saw in the wild for the first time, and I was like, oh, yeah? Okay. Yeah. All right, buddy.
Is the screen on the front so weird?
It felt like it was from a distance I saw it. Yeah. But it reminded me of, remember when Apple's earbuds first were included with iPods and stuff, and they were white, and all tech at that point had been black, and you started seeing people with white headphones, and it was like a status thing a little bit. There was this thing about it. And the same happened with AirPods, and ours are wireless, I was definitely like, okay, pal, Like, we get it, you know. And I was doing that.
I also ran with wires for years after everybody else had switched before I did.
Yeah, and with my wired headphones I'm using right now.
Right,
but it
exactly.
was, I just remember feeling that same way. And then I don't think once when I see somebody with AirPods now.
Yeah. The most popular speaker the world over. Like a lot of people, like that's one of the that is one of their top their 3 places they'll check a mix before they'll send it is AirPods. And I don't have any. So maybe I need to get my career in gear and get myself some AirPods.
Get your head out of your ass, Justin.
Get your head out of your ass.
But similarly, sort of this okay buddy we get it mode, a little side tangent story time. I saw a Cybertruck the other day.
Oh fuck. Now that's like okay buddy we get it to yourself though. Like that's if to be the person who buy to buy the Cybertruck, are you not kind of okay bud to your own self? You know, like do you because you have to think that when you get into that thing and you're like, you know, I mean, what must it weigh? It's like
So let me just I'll just right out of the gate I can confirm it was covered in fingerprints. 2, it was
it's like the fridge finish you don't want, and somebody's like, let's make a truck out of it.
Yeah. And it was raining or just kind of drizzly that day, and I was like, hope you brought a towel, man, because that shit's gonna rust, and they just do. So there's that.
Do they? No, they're not coated. Like they just rust.
No. I'm pretty sure I've seen documentation that says like things like road debris, rain, bird poop, all that stuff needs to be removed as quickly as possible to avoid ruining the material, blah, blah, blah.
You keep talking. I'm just going to look up Cybertruck rusting. Is the rust thing actually happening to Cybertruck? Should I look on Reddit?
Yeah.
I want somewhere with pictures.
Let's see, top comment. I'm more curious about
should I put Reddit on our show here?
So there's a cool thing about it, the fly-by-wire steering and stuff that's supposed to be amazing. That's great. But so anyway, I'm not going to go defend Cybertruck because it doesn't need it. But well, it does, but not from me. Look at the door. It looks like shit. Anyway, God, fucking. God.
Hold on, I have to tell CBS News that they're not getting through my ad blocker. Hold on, where's the picture of? So here's a picture.
Yeah,
put it
there
back
you go.
on the show. Here's from CBS News pictures of pitting and stuff appearing on a Cybertruck.
Yeah. So anyway, and then
2 days of rain.
Third thing about this particular Cybertruck I saw, it had some business information printed on the tailgate. So if somebody had gotten like a vinyl sticker or something like that, and it was like such and such realty or some local thing, and I'm like, right there, that's what it is. You get somebody to go look at this fucking stupid truck.
Yeah.
But there's a business website.
But they looked at it.
There's a phone number on it. Yeah.
It worked. It worked because you're looking on a bench, right?
Yeah.
The
You
ad
just
on a
proved
bench.
signs work.
Right.
Fuck you. Like, also, like you know where I live. I live in one of these places that's not like it's a city, but it's definitely not like a city. And it's do you know what I mean? Like it's a city by definition.
I know what
but
you mean.
Manchester does not even share anything with like Cincinnati at all, right? They're massively different.
Yeah.
Size-wise, Cincinnati is fucking huge, and Manchester's like not. So it's a small New England city, like the rest of New England cities. But it's this place in a small state that's like, what is that doing here? I see all kinds of stuff that's like here. What do you have that for? And it's very, you know what I mean? I'm going off, I guess. But
this is a really interesting like microcosm, or I don't know if it's a microcosm or what it is, but this thing like you're doing a really get off my New England like.
I guess, but it's not. I am like, I've had it up to here with truck culture in the first place, which is this like, $80,000 truck that, would kill me and everyone in town if I got hit by it kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm like really losing patience on that. And I see something that's like clearly a stunt. Like I'm going to buy this absurd truck to put my phone number on the side.
That's like a real estate thing too. Not necessarily with that, but like to have, to have like a really nice car, like anytime you guys just bought a car, like whenever you're into the car thing, does someone say, have you thought about leasing to you? Like, I don't know, does that come up in your life? But every time it does for us, like if we're ever thinking about a new car, somebody's around like, well, and I'm like, no, leasing's a good idea if you aren't going to keep the car already.
Right.
You know, or you're one of these people like a real estate agent who is using
part of
that.
your brand.
Exactly. You're using that like, I'm going to take my clients around to go view houses and I want them to go, whoa, the whole day.
They drive a luxury vehicle. They must do
Right.
great business. Yeah.
And it's like, so you do this thing where you're actually sort of getting a little bit out of your own price range, but you're managing to pull it off because they know they're going to get that value back. And really what you've done is not accrue any equity out of it. And there's all this, anyway, whatever.
Totally,
It's not the way I manage my money and it's not something I'm going to do, but like, that's the kind of, it's the same kind of thing. Like, yeah. And then put your sticker on it, buy this ridiculous thing, and hopefully don't get your, brake pedal recalled or whatever the fuck it was. So,
right. The thing about the Cybertruck that I saw, or actually it's the second one that I saw, I'm not sure if it was the same one, but I saw two separate instances. But because it only comes in one fucking color, I have no idea no way to know if it was the same one
metal.
or not.
That's the color. Metal.
Yeah. Comes in goddamn rock and roll. But yeah, it was just like, you can ask yourself, who is the Cybertruck for? It's certainly not people who need a truck, but it's, I ask myself that question even harder at the intersection next to daycare, like, what do you need that for now? Here, who are you?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I'm like,
how do we, I feel there's an angle here. No, we can do this. We're professionals and we can do this. How do we turn that thought into guitars? Because there's a way. I know we can do it.
I was going to say
already got it.
This thing about guitar. I haven't been playing much guitar lately. And I'm still kind of like keeping an ear to the ground on gear news and stuff like that for the show, obviously, of which there is none tonight.
Spoiler alert. That was it. Logic can play guitar for you now. End of show.
Game over, everybody. This is just a regular podcast. So, but I was still, it's all over my YouTube feed and stuff and everywhere else. And I'm just like, the people are just still so hard into this. Like I can be, and I'm just not in it like that right now. And that's a really interesting feeling that we're still arguing about overdrive pedals or whatever the hell else. And I'm like, aren't you tired of that? Like, that's the thing. I'm just like tired of that and bored of that conversation.
I have felt that feeling before about a number of things. It's all like coming back to me as you're talking, right? Like, it's
not that I'm giving up on guitar. Like, it's not that.
Right.
It's not that I don't care about this. Like, I love I just haven't played in a while. And then when you don't do that, you don't pay as much attention to what's in the biz, I guess. I don't know.
So let me put this to you. Whenever you get an interest, so let's just for sake of talking about it, like something comes up and you kind of focus on it for a while. Let's say it's 3D printers.
Sure.
Just a random thing that I pulled out of my butt for no reason. So you get into it and you pay attention to it and you're on the Reddits and you're on various forums, you're learning a bunch, you're talking to people, and those things ebb and flow, right? So you're into it really hard, that you get into it a little, then you're onto something else a little bit, and that's in the back of your mind. And when it comes back around, you go back and the Reddits are still blazing exactly like they were before, because you going in and out of it didn't change how much fuel was in that fire, right? And you're like, wow. But then you haven't been focusing on it for a few weeks or months. And then it's like, whoa, like now you can perceive that burn. Yeah. That's what I notice that about various interests a lot,
You're very right. Except it's not just like random couch, armchair
not just
experts.
Random things,
It's not random armchair experts on the internet either. It's also all the media outlets that I follow, right? So to see that all of these guitar YouTuber people that do demos and reviews and stuff are still pitching stuff with like such heavy clickbait and such like, this is the one thing Ibanez gets wrong. Like, like that's one, it still works, but like, aren't you, creator guy, tired of having to do that?
Aren't you, right?
Aren't you?
Oh my God. There's been this.
Like, I'm tired of seeing it. I couldn't imagine doing it. He said on a guitar podcast. You know what I mean? It's the
Yeah.
I don't know. And I look at my gear sometimes and I'm like, what am I doing? And then other times I'm just like, this is the fucking best. And I'm like all in, you know, it's such a weird feeling.
Well, little breaks from things are really invigorating as
It
well.
is. And I played guitar today, which was the first time since our last rehearsal, which was 3 or more weeks ago. Like my pedal board is still in the box. Like I haven't even unpacked. But I was listening to Typo Negative, which I haven't listened to in a really, really long time. And I was like, God, this song is one song called Love You to Death is like it's a crazy cool song. And me and my college roommate, one of my college roommates were like really into this era of Typo and stuff. And I was like, I have an 8-string. I bet I can play some Typo Negative songs. They're not like the most complex things. And I started looking at the tabs and stuff and I'm like, yeah, sure can. Like it's not frilly and my guitar's in the right tuning, you know? So let's try.
Let's do it.
And I had a lot of fun with it today, like just fooling around with the Typo Negative stuff. But yeah, it was like, it almost feels like I shouldn't pick it up just to like, not to keep that like break going, but if I don't know, it feels like the barrier, I build up my own barrier to entry for some reason. Where I'm like, I don't want to I got to pull all my stuff out. I got to, clean up first. I got to make room, plug it all in. It just feels like too many steps. And it ends up feeling like, I got to do the dishes or there's always something else. There's that's always more something like pressing. Else. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how that ties back to Cybertruck, but it does. So,
but it does somehow. And we leave it to you, the listener.
That's all. I mean, I was gonna mention, I didn't put it in the notes, but yeah, I haven't been playing very much, and this happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm not up against a deadline right now. I've got some songs to learn for the band, but I have more than a week to do that, and I'm not worried about it. We're doing a '90s night.
All right.
In July, and '90s music is where so much of where we as people, like we in the band as people, are rooted.
Yeah.
So like that's when we were learning our instruments and stuff. Sorry. This goddamn trees.
Fucking trees and they're fucking.
God, right?
Fucking trees.
So it's everything that we've gone to learn. It's like, yep, I know. I've
just locks in, makes sense.
Yep, never learned this song before, but I've heard it 10,000 times. So, yep, I know it.
Boy, does that make it easier.
Yeah, so I don't feel that kind of pressure. So it's just like, if I'm going to play guitar, what am I doing? And if I'm not working on something, then I start to feel like bad about guitar, that I'm just like playing aimlessly with no goal. And that's what feels like I would just not rather do something else, but it makes me do something else.
Yeah.
And also my time's kind of at a premium now. So I'm like, if I want to play guitar and really dig in for a couple hours,
you got to like plan that.
Yeah, I'm way more likely to be pulled away these days. So yeah.
It'll come around.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think it might now, like that I picked up the 8-string today. I kind of want to build a Typo Negative Helix preset.
Eight string on 90s night. Yes. It's definitely the right move. Don't fuck this up.
They didn't have those in the 90s though.
Yeah, but just make it work.
I think Typo was playing either 7s or just maybe baritones or something. But my guitar is actually tuned lower than much of that stuff that I was playing today, which is cool. But so like 7-string stuff comes up all the time, which that guitar can do because it's got the low B. But then anything that you can play on that 6th string, right? You've got the low octave version of now on the low F sharp, which is just a hoot. It's so fun. It's so fun. Like anything that was like already low, you can make it even lower.
The video, I think it was Fluff's video where he's like, it does detuning, make things heavier, and he's just playing the same, and then he keeps detuning and then playing the same thing and detuning, and then he's like drilling out the tuning peg with a power drill to get the giant string through. Oh, it was, it might have been, I'm thinking of the wrong guy, but yeah. I don't even remember what the outcome was. It doesn't matter.
One of my favorite videos of his is metal in inappropriate places. and he's just playing friggin' crazy thrash metal like in the library or in the shower or something. Very funny.
Oh my God.
So yeah, there's not a whole lot of show left,
Yeah.
I guess.
That's fine. I don't
It's
care.
all right. Yeah. It's all right.
We've done, this is fine. This is fine.
Yeah.
We had a great set of music related content last time. We can just bounce off of it a couple of times this episode.
Yeah,
and
that was enough for a
It
while.
was. It was a hell of an episode.
Yeah, the
And
episode.
exciting, the episode.
Yeah. If you're new here for whatever reason and aren't sure what we're talking about, last episode, 265, we had Justin's brother Tyler and my sister Kate on the show to talk more about music stuff, and it was really fun. So great conversation that unfortunately got cut short like twice, but it was it was a really good time. And I just, again, thanks to Ty and Kate for coming on, because it was just the best.
Yep. And apologies that it had to end. I know Ty had some more stuff that he wanted to try to talk about, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, we can have folks on again for sure.
We can.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in other news, let's just do a little bit of, let's do some things. Let's make some recommendations of some things of this week.
Blammo.
Right.
What's
now,
up?
I just opened another tab for this. So why the hell? No, never mind. No, we know what this is.
We know what this is.
We know what this
Your boy bought a 3D printer. I bought a Bamboo Lab A1.
Wow, I can make it move.
Yeah.
Keep it like that.
So
A Bamboo
I got
Lab.
that.
So this looks sleek. I remember seeing, a few years ago when a bunch of people I knew got some of these. They weren't this cool.
It's extremely cool.
Yeah.
Like prints take hours, many hours.
Yep.
And there's very little stopping me from just standing and watching it because of how mind-blowing what it does is. So I know how they work. It's additive manufacturing. We all know how this works. It's still awesome to watch every time.
Yeah. It's just hot glue. Don't let them fool you, everybody. It's just hot glue.
It's just, really precise hot glue.
It's extremely precise hot glue.
So I had been thinking about 3D printers for actually many years and just never really felt like it was the right time to get into that because it was a notoriously finicky hobby from what I was kind of gathering. Like everybody I was seeing was kind of always tuning up their stuff. They were really tinkering and really getting into the weeds with I got this part and replaced this blah, 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 calibrating.
Fill patterns and getting doing four prints that came out a little wrong and tweaking the software to,
Right. And I'm like, that's really cool, but I've already got those hobbies, right? I've already got those in the weeds things that I can't do that with another thing. Something would fall apart. Like literally I would stop playing guitar or I would just leave 3D printing. I would have all this stuff and not do it. So enter Bamboo Lab that has streamlined the process, both the hardware and the software a lot into, the A1 and I guess all their other printers too, basically self-maintain, and they don't need calibration as much. They're all self-calibrating, self-leveling. It's got all these detectors and sensors and things for various problems that it will just pause the print and be like, "Hey, something's up. Why don't you come look at this?" And you can just handle it rather than it continuing to run and fail or break itself or something like that.
Or run into its own, nonsense.
Yeah, it's very smart in what it does. It even has active noise canceling, which is out of control. Like,
really?
Why would it have that? It's not a very loud machine, which
canceling
is
its own vibrations?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
which it does quite a bit. So it's fantastic. I've been printing every day since I got it. It actually came the day that we had Ty and Kate on the show. And I had it half built in the basement when we were recording. But I've made all kinds of great stuff, and it's been really fun to...
my kid's fussy. Gotta go print.
Gotta go print. That was a tough day for me. I'm going to be honest because it didn't arrive until like 6 p.m. And
and you're like,
I was
God
so
damn
mad.
it.
Yeah, and I'm like, and now we're doing like the bedtime routine with Jack and his podcast night, and I'm like, oh, fucking God, I don't want to put this thing together. So, but anyway, it's been really awesome because it takes so much of the guesswork out. A lot of folks like to do bed leveling and like the Z-axis offset, which is like how high above the bed the nozzle is. You'd have to like slide a piece of paper underneath and like measure it and do all this like really like precise stuff, or slightly imprecise stuff with like a sheet of paper. But this just bed levels every time it prints, and I don't have to worry about it. It's fucking awesome.
That's great.
So today, we'll start small. Today I made this little switch. It's just a little fidgety,
little bistable switch.
Yep. It took a half an hour. And
that seems like
awesome.
it's probably a pretty fast printer too, compared to the stuff that like the Ender whatever that everyone bought 3 years ago, which was one of the first very accessible printers.
Right. Yeah, we're way past MakerBot. Yeah. So that was part of the reason I like the Bamboo Lab stuff, because it's like they're coming at it from this angle, kind of to mention Apple again, that is the ecosystem. Right, it's not just like another product in the market space. It's like you're buying into this whole universe of stuff, which was appealing for me as a first timer. So this little switch was great. I'm sure you're familiar with Benchy, the boat.
Yes,
this little boat print. This is a benchmark print. It's got very specific dimensions and stuff, and you measure it, and it helps you calibrate your printer. This has been around for a really long time.
Oh, okay.
Except, you like get some calipers or whatever, or a micrometer, and just, you can measure it up. And
so you're making sure that your printer is doing it correctly.
Doing it the right way.
It's not enough to see the thing and have it look right. It's like now
right, and there's other things like you can see, because the way it's designed, like this specific slope of the bow, like is whatever the angle is important for printers. It tends to be an area they can fail in.
So probably it might show off that texture.
Yeah, it'll highlight issues with the printer, and you can then adjust them in the hardware or the software. In the case of Bamboo Lab, it's just in the software.
Yeah.
So and then it's a great way to test other filaments too. So this is a color shifting one that goes from green to blue in a very great way.
How does it do that?
Dude, I don't fucking know.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, right?
What?
It's still PLA. It's still made from like, it's one of the most recyclable plastics in the world. I just learned today it's made from like a sugar beet starch.
That's like
So right,
cool.
so here's Benchy, right? This character of 3D printing. Somebody makes Benchy at sea. And it's a fucking cresting wave that Benchy just like sits in. Anyway, so I've also just the other day made this awesome bolt maze.
Oh, I just saw something like that the other day. So those are the threads.
The threads, and in the nut is a little register,
it's
like a key,
like a pin. Yeah,
a pin, and it will run through the maze here. It's super hard. I have not actually completed it, but it's a fun fidgety toy. It's got a hex head on it. pretty rad.
Wow.
And then this, I'm super proud of, actually. Considering I had no idea what I was doing, I built this badass dice tower.
Oh, it's for rolling dice.
Yeah.
Did everyone see my face when I figured it out?
Yay! I rolled a 14. But look at it. Like it printed just in white PLA, and I painted it and
nice.
Sanded it, and it was 3 parts: the base, the castle, and the roof. And it was super fun. Like it got thrown together in a weekend, and I think it looks friggin' killer.
That looks great, man. That's awesome.
Super happy with it. So now it's just like this thing you can whip up a whatever and get to painting and have a good old time. So I got this whole bundle that's on screen now with the filament switching system and all that stuff. It's fucking killer. It is so fun and not crazy expensive. Like the barrier to entry is quite low. So
cool.
And
So it's got four different filaments, and it knows, like it can change on the fly, kind of. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, just multi-material switching, not just colors of material, but types of material as well. So, like PETG doesn't adhere to PLA very well. So you can use them for supports for each other. So the supports are easier to break away.
Oh, interesting.
Something like that. There's different temperature requirements and adhesion properties and all that stuff. So yeah, it's like you can still get in the weeds big time, but they take so much of the guesswork out.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Love it. Fantastic.
Freaking sweet.
So
not as sweet as this though. I saw this when you were setting up and I'm like, oh my God. Please tell me you guys did this.
We did the hell out of this. So this was a birthday present. So wife surprised me on some Sunday. I think our kids stayed over at my folks' house, and in the morning she was like, okay, so we're doing a surprise in the morning. We got up, and not like really early. We were out the door by like 8:30 or something. And I didn't know where we were going. And she was like, okay, so we saw these folks at the Ren Fair. By the way, we saw them, and I probably talked about it whenever we went to I probably talked about it on the show. We went to the Ren Fair, and we saw a show so this is Midwest Falconry. We saw a show where they had some owls, they had some falcons, they had some hawks, they did some targets and flew them around a little bit, talked about them to the audience, and we got to see some of them kind of up close and stuff like that. So, but they do like classes. And
whoa,
Mario, it's something like $200 a person. Like, I can't tell. Like, it was so much more than we thought it was going to be. So we go up. We drove maybe
so much more. What?
Just everything. It was so much more. That we did there than what we thought.
It was like so much more money than you thought it was.
Oh no! I mean, it seems kind of expensive, but we thought, well, she's like, this is probably pretty cool. Let's just do it. The way their website is like kind of, I don't know, out of date or something, but like that. But it seems like that you're going to be there for a couple of hours. It says that there's a meal, there's a lunch involved. You're going to get to handle some birds and fly them. And they'll show you about them, and you get to just be around.
You're going to fly this bird. Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm
telling you.
Okay.
So here's the thing. So we get in the car, we start going. She's like, you should guess. And I'm like guessing all this stuff. I'm not getting it. And she's like, it's fucking falconry. I was like, oh shit, it's these guys. Yes. So we go there and then we sit down, and I don't have an easy way. I was thinking when we were starting this, if I had an easy way to get some photos onto here. I shared some photos in Discord when we, on the day, not a lot, but anyway, I don't have them for the show, but I'll just tell you, like, we sit down, there's probably like 14 people who are part of this. And some people are just like, observers, and you pay a little more to be a handler, and we all get to know each other a little bit. And the mood is so like, it's like a family cookout almost. Like this family, like we're on their property where they have all these aviaries. We get to know them, they get to know everybody, and we're all talking. And then we just right away, it's like, okay, well, see a bird you like, So there's a bunch of hawks.
Take this hawk out for a test drive.
There's a bunch of hawks sitting, and then on the other side there was a bunch of different kinds of falcons, and we sort of like picked one out. And I stood next to Marielle has got this peregrine called Pretty Boy, fastest fucking animal on earth, by the way, in case anyone's curious. Yeah. And right next to him was Nala, who is a Saker falcon, which is a little bigger than a peregrine, but looks really similar, less blue. And then they're just like, we have a glove. They sort of show us how to hold the equipment and stuff. And then there I am. I'm standing there like with Nala on my hand. And we just...
And Nala's just like, sup.
We're just
like,
getting to know.
I'll take it from here.
Nala's giving me this, and she's looking around. They're also a little on edge because they've been cooped up, and they know they're going to go fly. And also there's hawks there, so the hawks are a lot bigger, and they're like They're like, so if you have a hawk, spooked. Don't stand next to, you know what I mean? And we start to go outside, and Nala's like, ha ha, and like I almost dropped her, and we were just talking about it and just getting to know us. And then we go and. We went out into a field. We kind of put those birds down. We went out to a field. We had and we just flew this hawk. We stood in a big circle, and it was just flying from person to person, just zigzagging the circle, right? And everybody would get a little hunk of deer. They just chunked up a bunch of venison, and that we just hold that in our glove and hold our arm out to the side and whistle. And the hawk is like, hell yeah, does a big
Hawk's like, you!
swoop and land.
running.
The hawk is a big, I forget exactly which kind of hawk. Anyway, it's a big brown bird. There is a big boy. And they do this nice swoopy like move and they land on you. And that first hawk, he must have gone around the circle 3 times. He had this big lump in his throat because they put the food there. They don't digest it till later. And he just had so many chunks of deer. He had this giant bubble on him by the end of it. So then we go, and then they make us like a giant like spaghetti meatball dinner. And she's like, oh yeah, I've been up since 6 making meatballs.
What
with
the
salad.
fuck?
They had pies and brownies that were all home. Like, it was ridiculous. And we're all just sitting around. We're telling stories, and they're telling us about their lives and how they got into this and how the different things they did. And then after lunch, we go out and we're going to fly the Falcons. Well, the Falcons, they don't fly like that. You use a target. So you have like a rope with a target on the end, and there's like a piece of bird or something in the leather, and I swing it, and then I try to swing it out of the way just as they get to me, and they're like, now watch for these peregrines because they will figure you out. Because they're supposed to dodge them, and then they'll come around for another pass. Well, if they think
they'll drop your ass.
If they think you're a noob, right? If they think so the deal is you swing it and they try to get it. If they touch it, you drop that thing to the ground because they have won, and you have to give it to them. That's the deal,
God.
right?
Yeah,
and
because
so
that thing would fuck you up. Yeah.
So if you don't, like, they miss it, and then they're supposed to come around for another pass. But when they catch on that we're noobs, what they do, Pretty Boy actually flew later, and that's what he would do is he would do a little swoop, and then instead of going around and coming around for another pass, he went straight up. And then he did this like fucking Sky Ninja move where he goes straight up, turns, and then tucks into a ball and goes straight down. I have like a video.
Yeah.
I have a video of him doing this to Marielle. Like she avoided him the first time. He goes straight up and then swoop back down to try to get it without her being able, without breaking her line of sight, basically. Because she looks this way, and he's like, I'm up here.
Oh, wait, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The Z-axis. Oh my God, that's the connection.
He's thinking in 3 dimensions. It was great. And then we went on a walk, and these 2 hawks come with us, and they're just free. We just let them go. And they walk along, basically they're flying tree to tree along with us. And this is like how you would hunt with a hawk. You'd walk around and you kick up the bush, and little critters who are hiding scurry out. And so the hawks are like, well, we're a team, so I know about humans. Like, humans are going to scare up some shit, and I'm going to go grab it. And they're walking along looking for stuff. And once again, we just kind of we like fed them from our gloves and stuff. At one point, this guy decided to land on my head. Like, he flew over, and I guess whatever he thought he saw, he didn't see, so he decided to take a break. So there's a picture of him like fucking standing there. I'm just like walking along. I had a hat on.
It's probably like, hey, check out what I'm going to do to this idiot.
I'll tell you, like, I had a hat on, and I know he was being gentle with me, but that is so hawks kill with their feet. The peregrines will bite you. The hawks it's the feet. It's the
talons. It's the dinosaur legs.
That is where they kill rabbits. So anyway, I got to hold, we got out a barn owl a little later. I also got to hold this tiny little screech owl. And what else did we see? Well, he had a goshawk in a cage, which we didn't get to see because that goshawk is evil as fuck. He was not trained properly, and so he hates people. So he's basically there, like, he's just living his life.
Like a rescue almost?
Yeah, they do some of that. Like, he received him from somebody who discovered that they couldn't hunt with him. But that's a big ass. That's bigger than the hawks, the other hawks. Big, white, beautiful bird, but that thing will fuck you up. And then in the other cage, the other thing we didn't get to handle because, once again, was he had a red tail who again was not sort of trained early enough.
Not cool.
And so like we just went up, and this is oh God, that thing is big. And we'd come up near the cage, and it would go like this, and just that shriek, the call that you hear from a movie, that's the red-tailed hawk. No matter what raptor it is in a movie, that's the sound they use. But the like that big soaring call, the classic thing. In my face. I can't believe how fucking loud that bird is. Because you hear them in the sky and you're like, wow, look at that. You know, things right there in front of me.
We have red-tailed hawks around here like crazy. Yeah. They're everywhere. Yeah. When I worked in the office, they would, our office was along the river, and the red-tailed hawks would nest along the river.
Yep.
And every now and then they would just come and perch on the windowsill at my desk.
Yeah.
And we named one of them Tony because Tony Hawk. And you gotta.
Yep.
And we thought there was just one, and then Tony shows up, and then Tony 2 shows up, and we're like, oh shit. Like, so there were 2, and we thought maybe they were like mates or something. A office building piece of glass separating us.
Yeah.
Because we're in this old mill building, so the windowsills are humongous. And so they're like even
just
on the outside.
The wow.
Yeah, they're on the outside of the windowsill. And they're just right there looking at us, like doing the
wow.
Yeah. And then they just take off.
Yeah,
crazy.
We see him here too. I see some other birds, but every once in a while, a big old thing. And he's come down and like ate something like while sitting on my fence.
Yeah.
Before, like he's brought it down like pretty close inside my yard, and I've watched him eat. But
let me see if I can find a
big
photo to post in Discord. But
at one point, so we're flying the peregrines, and the second peregrine, actually it was Pretty Boy, started to get a little spooked, and they said he's looking up at something. He's looking up, and and he started chittering at one point, making this funny noise, this little chirp that they do. And they're like, we can't see. And the handlers are talking amongst us. They're like, he keeps looking up, and they're like, there's an eagle up there somewhere. There's an eagle. And after a while, they've said, wait, I could see it now. And it's like, there's a bunch of circling like black vultures. You probably see those sometimes too, but they circle. They're hundreds of feet up, but they sort of just slowly like glide around looking for stuff. And that's like a pretty high up bird. That's like the height that the red tails often go to and stuff like that. And then this tiny speck that was like the most distant high altitude jet you can imagine. It's like above some of the cloud cover. And we can see this tiny speck I can just barely fucking see. And that's the eagle. Because the eagles are going to go way the fuck up there. And that's what that peregrine was like, oh shit. And all the birds are spooked, and they're all looking up and chattering to each other and stuff like that. And they can see that shit way up there. And probably the eagle can see them perfectly well from up there too.
When we first moved to this neighborhood, we were walking Charlie, and he wasn't a big dog.
Yeah.
And there was some, like just around the long loop that we would take in the neighborhood, it's like, I'm pretty sure that hawk is kind of following us.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's kind of sizing up the dog.
Yeah. I bet you're right. I bet if you weren't there, they'd be a lot closer.
They'd be a little closer, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they're not going to do anything to a person, but...
No, but...
Because they also, all these birds, they see like 2 eyes in the front of your head. They're like, you're a predator. You know, like they get that. You're not really the prey. Now, a little dog like that, I don't know. They might be like, well, I'm confused by this. Is it a rabbit?
That's what I think they were trying to figure out what it was. Yeah.
Right.
I just threw a few pictures of Tony Hawk in the chat there.
Holy shit.
Yeah. They're just right fucking there. Like in the coolest way. Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're beautiful birds. Just gorgeous. But that's one thing I miss about working in an office. But
when this episode posts, I'll go back and I'll get a bunch of the photos. I have a bunch of photos of Marielle on my phone. I need to get the photos of, you know what I mean? Like, but anyway, we'll share some stuff. So Midwest Falconry, if you can find a place near you, just to like, you know, whatever. This is near me, nearby in Cincinnati. But if you ever have an opportunity to do this, like, I hope it's as good as these people because it is unbelievable. It was we had to be there for like 5 hours. I couldn't believe how much time everything we got to do. It was so cool. And I got a very deserved sunburn. So happiest sunburn I ever had.
Yeah, lean into that, man.
Yeah.
Cool. That's very cool.
Okay. That was a long story, but that was worth it. Aren't we glad I didn't try to squeeze that in last episode?
Yeah.
That would have been a mistake. So
anyway, hop into the chat and tell us about your hawk stories. And I don't know what else. We're ready to get out of here?
Yeah, that's the story, man.
That's about the size of it there.
Come hang with us in Discord, eh?
Yeah. Who are we? Like,
I don't know. Delirious. Yeah, thanks for listening, and thanks to the patrons. And nobody forget that Discord's free.
yeah, and if you missed it, we did just finish up a giveaway. We'll have another one coming soon. We would love to hear where you would like us to check out for giveaways. So far, we did Reverb back when. We just did Honey Picks.
We've done Stringjoy.
Stringjoy, yes, that's what I was thinking of. So yeah, let's crowdsource this. Where do you guys want some free money to?
That's a good, yes. I don't want to have to think of the next one. It's on you now, jerks.
Yeah. So yeah,
okay.
come in Discord and tell us. And yeah, if you like what you hear, you can head over to Patreon and support the show for as little as $1 a month. And actually, speaking of Patreon, this Bolt, I joined a Patreon to get the STLs for. My first Patreon that I joined myself. So yeah, pretty cool. The guy, another late recommendation, Robinson Foundry on YouTube. He does sort of backyard at-home metal casting. And he starts with 3D printing a lot of the time. And does a lot of like, he'll make a mold and then cast either directly into it and let the material just vaporize, or make a negative out of it and go from there. So his version of this is like solid bronze.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can't cheat.
Right. Yeah, I could just break the bolt off of this if I
You'd be like, look,
do
I'm
it.
good, crunch.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, head over to Patreon and you can join up there. Like I said, only $1 a month. Pretty rad. And what else? There's a newsletter, and that's going to be your place to hear about giveaways for the first time, or for the second time. The first time is going to be on the show the night we record in Discord. So yeah, get on that.
That's right. If you're in Discord and you can listen in, we record on Monday nights. I don't know if that's going to change. We'll see. But the point is, right now we're recording on Monday nights, and if you're here, it's open to an audience. And if you're not here, Discord's probably that's where we post the things for giveaways. So you're going to have to get there anyway. But if you're an email person, and I mean I am, so no disrespect. Emails.
Hey, gamer knows game,
I funnel people into emails all the time. I'm like, it's fine to text me, but if you want to not be forgotten, you better get
it's part of your
email.
workflow.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Yep. I use my inbox as a to-do list.
Yep.
Anyway, let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's do it. So what all is patrons this week? Why is my thing popping up? There we go. Go away, thing. The patrons this week that we give our undying and immense thanks to include Rabbi Bob, Palm Teddy, Carson Ricketts, Matthew Fenslaw, Ryzen Wolf, Brian Gower of the Tone Jerks podcast, Andrew Walsh of Andrew's Alcove, Sean Wright of Lollygagger Effects, Doug Gann, and of course, Peanut Butterman. Thanks, guys.
Yes. Thanks. Yeah.
That's it.
Sorry I was weird. Not sorry, but a little. All right. See you next time.
Whatever. See ya. Bye.